Well, today a man touched my wiener.
How's that different from any other day?
It was a unique one. And he said right there, he kind of had his finger underneath, and he goes, right there on the zipper. Is where he was touching right at the base of my business,
Right
where the beans meet the frank.
So he had his hand on your zipper or on your actual schlong dong?
The zipper being the continuation of the old taint. Where you're
like he was like straight up like Spartan helmet. Like he was changing the oil.
approaching. And
Damn.
he said, anyways, because he said, yeah, right here on the zipper here, and that's where he's gonna cut me. He's gonna snip me open.
No.
And he's gonna pull out a tube. And he's gonna cut it and then send it back in and do it to the other one. I just don't know if I'm ready for it.
I heard it. So we're talking about a vasectomy.
Yes, that is correct.
And I know the female operation's very intense, getting the fallopian tubes removed or sealed, whatever. I've heard that vasectomies are like, you get it done, you don't even really feel any pain. You just ice it a little bit. You like put an ice pack between your legs, and then like the next day feels pretty healed up.
I think that's true. And then I also think if you go read the forums, don't read the forums. Because sometimes it doesn't go so smooth.
Really?
It'll be like 3 weeks of excruciating pain. Could not walk, for a month. Just like things like that. And so
part of me wonders if those guys have pre-existing conditions or something, For
sure. Like also like he said, like while I was in there, can doctors even say this anymore? I mean, man, I love how old school doctors. He's like,
doctors have a pass.
He's like, you're not fat, so like this is going to be easy.
Yeah.
He's like, because I guess it makes sense if you're fat and it's all pushing down and you're turtling and your weight is, pulling on your strings.
I also imagine the taint is an area that collects fat to some degree.
And they don't go in at the taint. They go in at the top of the nuts, right where your ween.
Top of the back of the nuts.
Nope, in the front.
Oh, in the front.
In the front, yeah.
Oh, so then why was he touching your taint?
No, the zipper comes all the way around.
No, I think that's just you, bud.
No, this is because that actually divides. Like, did you know that your nutsack has a wall inside of it? It's got.
Yeah, keep one nut on each side.
Exactly. So that is you can see it. You can see the.
I think that's just you, bud.
All right.
I think you have a line.
I've got a weird.
I think you have a seam.
I got a weird
where
wing.
God welded you together.
Welded it shut, as it was intended to be.
So what are we talking about welds here? Are we talking about some good, like roll around, roll over, roll around, roll over? Are we talking like just like solid beads?
I think it was pretty solid. But
okay.
what is wild is he took this piece of paper and like drew it upside down. I mean, anytime anybody draws something upside down, they've done it a lot of times. So he drew a little nutsack, drew a wall down the nutsack, drew your little nut, drew the parts of your nut, and then like showed where he's going to make a little hole. And he's like, and then I'm going to pull it out right here. He just made like a loop with this thing, and then we're going to cut it. And I was like, oh. And he's like, at this point, he's like, right out the gate, like you'll feel a bee sting. You're going to feel a bee sting when I give you the numbing to make the incision. He's like, and then when I pull that thing out, it's going to feel like I'm kicking you in the balls. This is what the doctor said.
Really? But he's not going to like.
Well, because they have to get it out to then numb that area. So they get the tube out, numb it before they cut it. But he said that it's going to feel like I am.
It's going to feel like the tip of a shoe.
Yeah, he's
the
like
back of a knuckle.
Yeah, it's gonna feel like I'm getting the boys.
Yeah,
and
I I wonder if like when that's cut, if you'll be immune to feeling that like stomach drop, nutsack pain. Because I think every guy knows what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, where it's up
like,
high.
Well, and it's like one of those things where like the lightest sack tap can cause it.
Mm-hmm.
It is not something with speed and violence that causes that sinking pain. It's really odd how like a gentle sack tap can then make you be like, oh my god, like wind out of you. Feels like your stomach just fell out on the floor. So I wonder if you'll be immune to that now. I'm
seeing this says it just kind of feels like you got kicked in the balls for like a couple days. I don't think there's any the science on the Google would say there's no immunity.
Oh,
but there is a afterwards it's a range of after the procedure takes like 8 minutes to get it done. Everything goes smooth. Snip, tuck it in, 1 stitch, go home. But then he's like, the next like 3 days is like, got to like stay on the couch in the bed. Like, don't let your kids jump on you because somehow they always end up giving you the flying knee to the boys. And so he said the first day's key to healing right, and then you're kind of up and going after a couple days. But it's just, I've never thought it was a big deal until I was the one sitting in the seat. And now I have to anticipate it because today was just a consultation. Now I got to think about it for a few months until it happens. And I'm ready, but I'm not ready. I did leave there and I went to Chick-fil-A for a little comfort sandwich because I kind of felt sick in my stomach. But got to do what you got to do, we're there. We've had 3 kids. It's time to be done.
Yeah, I mean, and you said 3 was the number for you.
3 was the magic number.
I think we have you on the show saying that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
we made it, and we're it's time to be done. And I think, and we'd always said like 2 to 4 was like the outside perimeter. 3 was the goal.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think some of the complications we had like at the beginning of the last kid was like, all right, like we're very uninterested in 4 kids now. Like going through that again, it's like we've reached a place where we like to be. I don't feel like it's I'm okay with making it happen, and then like also like get my wife like off birth control, all that, like healthier for her, all those things. So what we got to do.
It makes sense, bro. It really does. I think it's just one of those things that you're the first of my gaggle of friends to to be heading down that road, which is sick.
I know. I feel too young.
I mean,
I feel like
as Michael Scott said, it's reversible.
Snip,
snap, snip, snap.
It is. It's reversible. And it is like they say, like, like it doesn't affect you at all. It doesn't affect like testosterone levels or like anything else. Like it's just, you're just shooting blanks. Everything's fine. So it's like, I know a lot of guys have gone through it. And so I'm just they're still living. They're still walking.
You personally know a lot of guys who have gone through it, or you just know, guys go through it?
No, I say personally, I know a lot of guys. Like a lot of guys who are like a couple years ahead of me with kids, and then also guys who are like, whatever, 45, 55, who are like, got it done, back in the day. So here soon, I'm going to have a couple days of just sitting on the couch, trying to avoid my 2 ninja children trying to just jump on me.
You do have some ninja boys.
Because I think that pain, if they land a flying knee, will be the craziest nut kick of your life.
Yeah, I bet. Well, I guess there's a couple things that we can go over. First, let's do a follow-up on good old Fudge, you were telling me it sounds like he's doing okay down in Florida, right? Mm-hmm. Like we have a homie down there that, we interviewed on the last episode, and everything's A-okay. Just some power outage, but they are totally fine and out of the storm, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, I think they're good to go. There's
nice.
No issues. So yeah, they're all set. And the but there's other areas of Florida that are not the case, but they're through it. They're fine now. But saw some videos coming through of other places that they got smacked pretty good.
Yeah, Florida definitely took some pounding. And I was pretty shocked at some of the places I was looking at, and just some of those like old, just like beach shack places that were, literally like a dive bar with, like rotted wood around it, and just seeing like, those buildings get just picked up and carried away. Was pretty crazy. Like just seeing full structures carried down the roads. I was like, wow, I don't know. I guess, I wonder if it was even insured. At that point, like, do you even insure a building like that, or do you just accept that it's going to get carried away one day and you'll just have to find another shack?
For real. And I don't know how like hurricane insurance works.
Everyone says that I was looking into, who's like finance bro, is like, bro, like get ready for insurance to go through the roof.
Right.
Like home insurance is going to cost you an arm and a leg
to cover all this stuff.
Yeah, because they just had to pay so much out of the nose for 2 back-to-back hurricanes. So it's going to be pretty bonkers, I guess, but... Smoke break?
Smoke break.
Hey, Ken, it's Mick, and I've got something important to talk about. We all hope we never find ourselves in a self-defense situation, but life's unpredictable. Enter the National Self-Protection Plan from Attorneys on Retainer, an actual credible law firm you can put on retainer for your self-defense needs. For just $35 a month, you get national coverage in all 50 states for criminal and civil legal representation in self-defense situations, complete with a 24/7, 365 toll-free emergency line. That's real legal support when you need it most. What's in the package? Bail bonds, scene cleanup, firearm replacement, even mental health counseling. Plus, 0 fees for a laundry list of defense-related costs like expert witnesses. So support the show and get yourself some peace of mind. Click the link in our show notes or visit our sponsors page to sign up for the National Self-Protection Plan from Attorneys on Retainer.
Hey folks, Pat here. If you're like Mick and I, you're a fan of classic tales like Lonesome Dove, Blood Meridian, The Three-Body Problem, and Steinbeck's East of Eden. With Audible, you can dive into these epic stories anytime, anywhere. Sign up for a free month, and your first audiobook is on the house. To start your free trial and support our show, click the link in the show notes or swing by the sponsors page on our website.
Want an awesome website for your podcast? Check out Podpage. We use it for the Mick and Pat show, and it's a game changer. Set it up in minutes, no coding needed. Support the show by using our link to get started. Your podcast deserves a home as great as ours. Podpage, the one-stop solution.
I think earthquake insurance in Colorado is like 25 cents a month.
Probably worth it since we live on a mountain range.
That's what like my dad got it, and some people were, telling him like, are you crazy? Are you an idiot? And then he just like,
no.
He just like pointed at the mountains. He's like, well, how'd you think those got here? I think the earth might have been shaking a little bit when,
I think your dad's ridiculous, bro. I think God put those mountains there.
Hey,
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, Mr. Pat.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Neither is he. So yeah, I don't know that if I'm going to get it, but for that cheap, it's kind of like, that's the cheapest insurance you can ever have. And insurance.
Well, there's no point in you getting it.
Hey, that's true. That's what I mean. That's why I said I don't know if I will.
Bro, speaking of which, 2 more units have gone for sale up by me. I need you to get on it and get over here, bro. I need you to, literally my neighbor. You could be my neighbor. We could share a wall.
That's true. I'll have to check into them. I don't know if we're quite ready.
Well, I'll say
getting
this.
Closer.
More, I was just reading a financial report that was saying if you are in a position where you will be renting for fewer than less than the next, it was like, I'm trying to remember exactly how to phrase it. They essentially said people today who are on the fence about buckling down and buying a home or not, and if they should wait out longer, are going to be priced out in 3 years because of how the government's inflating currency. And so everyone's saying like, if you have the means, you should buy within the next 3 years, as soon as possible within the next 3 years, because we're not going to have a recession. Because if we have a recession, essentially, interest goes up, and with interest rates up, the government can't afford to pay back on its debt to the banks.
Right.
And so therefore, the government's actually the U.S. government is in a very precarious spot in that like the U.S. government can actually go bankrupt right now, which was not a situation that we are in like in 2008, right? Like when you think about financial crashes. Right. The financial crash in 2008 was related to an economic system of the banks betting and over-leveraging themselves into buying mortgage assets.
Right.
And the U.S. government increased interest rates because they had to bail the banks out. What we are actually seeing right now is that the government needs to raise inflation and keeps everyone employed, because if inflation goes up, wages go up, interest rate goes down, and they can tax and collect taxes off of everyone who's employed. If unemployment goes up, the government's not collecting on taxes, on income tax, right? And they're unable to pay their debt back, because as inflation goes up, your debt remains the same. So inflation is good for debt, right?
Right.
And so if the U.S. economy is about to go into like crazy high rate inflation, it actually benefits you to take on debt now, because your debt will be worth less as inflation rises.
That's a great point.
So, anyways, everyone's saying like if you can, buckle down right now and try to buy that house, or buy an apartment, or just if you're in a position where you can buy something, buy it. Because it's going to be worth way more than what you pay for it right now in the next 3 years, because of the current situation the government's in with having to inflate. So, and I'm taking that from dudes who I like. They're not political people, right? These are guys who are like just they're YouTube accountants who are very serious about being YouTube accountants. Let me pull up this one guy. I subscribe to him. He is an Asian guy. I think it's called Free Tax something. I can't remember. I gotta look at his YouTube account again real quick. But Clear Value Tax. So Clear Value Tax is usually like the dude who I watch, and he's like the most like, everybody calm down. It's not the end of the world. Let me explain to you what's happening. And over the last 2 months, he's gone to like, everybody listen, this is really bad. The government cannot afford a recession, because if there's a recession, people get laid off. There's less income tax. The government goes bankrupt. The government needs inflation, and we're about to go into an inflationary cycle that's going to be very aggressive. So having your money in assets like stocks, real estate, gold, silver, stuff like that is going to benefit like us millennials a lot right now. Like we're about to go through essentially that hyperinflation period that our parents or grandparents went through
in the 80s, late 70s, early 80s.
Exactly. Yeah, and where it's going to go crazy. So all that said, we'll see what happens.
Indeed.
Just like how people are like, I used to be able to buy a carton of eggs for a dime. And now it cost a whole 95 cents. That's what they said in the 90s. Bro, we're going to be saying, I used to be able to buy a carton of eggs for $3. Now it costs $23.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to be at in 3 years from now.
When you're just like, people don't pick up a penny off the ground. They just keep walking.
Yeah.
Even like a poor person.
Yeah.
Then keep walking. Imagine is it like, you know,
$1.
when that starts happening with like tens. Just passing
tens
up the
of
Benjamin.
dollars. Yeah. It does make me think though that I kind of want to. I'm not trying to doom and gloom, but it does make me think I want to start getting into like silver. Just because silver, like an ounce of silver is like $18 or $22 right now, and it fluctuates, but it's you know, it's been going up just like gold has over time with inflation.
Right.
That silver is always going to be worth
something.
Yeah, I mean, especially with inflation, it's worth more. You know, and so it's just kind of nice to have like that rather than like someone being like $10 and you just have your $10 on hemp. And it's like, that's worthless. You know, that's as worth as much as $1 used to be.
Yep.
So anyways, all that said, bro, just come live next to me, man.
I'll have to check it out.
I'm
afraid that town's about to run out of resources.
You think so? I don't think
liquid resources.
I don't think so, my man.
Are they figuring it out?
I mean, you know, my water bill is like normal. I think it's people who bought brand new homes. Here's the thing, just for, you know, so we're not speaking in code. The town I live in and just moved into, some people are having like $800, $900, and $1,000 water bills.
Yeah.
And I think it's because they don't have potable water wells that they're pulling water from, and they're pulling water from the city to water these big brand new
like
lawns,
HOAs and like parks and everything.
Yeah. And so like I know like where I live, these townhomes I live in, the water that is used to water the grass around and stuff like that is non-potable, and it's coming off of some kind of well system that the HOA owns. So all of my water is still just water that I get charged for, that comes from, I mean, that it's like the city water that's coming in, you know, for bathing and cleaning clothes and doing dishes and stuff like that. So my water bill is like just over $100 a month, which is the same as it was for a apartment that was a third of the size. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
manageable.
Oh, way manageable. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, those people just need to shut up, stop complaining on their Facebook page. Well, it's just my favorite Facebook page of all time.
I'll be honest, if I got a $1,000 water bill one day, and it was because I was being required by my HOA to water my brand new lawn in my brand new housing development home, I would go to the HOA and I would say, I'm not paying this, and I'm also not paying you for a fine for not watering my lawn.
Yeah.
And then I would go to the water company and I would do something very patriotic where I would not hurt a single person, but I would do something very patriotic. And I'm not saying that because I don't want anyone to say I incentivize violence or anything like that, because I don't. But, you know, I don't know. Maybe just take away their ability to track, you know, the bills.
Yeah.
Just disable their computer servers.
It's pretty wild. But I do love the Facebook page.
Yeah, do that Facebook. Dude, there's nothing better than small town Facebook pages. Because small town Facebook pages are where people who have like no accountability and are totally like, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit what anybody say. I'm going to say here because everybody deserves to know about, you know, Penny Sue. And it's like, dude, they literally will be like, I will be looking at like the face. I don't say anything on the Facebook page. I only get on maybe like once a month, maybe. When I look at it, it's just like, oh, that's the waitress that served us dinner tonight. And it's just like, Penny Sue is a total absolute cunt.
Yeah.
She cheats on her man and is over at my place 3 days a week. He's begging for this yum yum. You're just like, good God. That person had my food in their hands. And then like you see Penny Sue respond, and Penny Sue's like, oh, I recognize Penny Sue. She's the pharmacist. And it's just like, listen here, Rachel, you total twat. Like they just go back and forth, and it's so entertaining.
And this is real. And it's what's funny is
I'm not making it up. I'm just changing the names.
Is that they actually, because it's on commenting on the internet is like so harmless because nobody you're arguing with some guy states away, but this is like true, like people know each other, because in this, like even like in these instances it'll be like, yeah, such and such is a bitch, and then the other one will get on there and be like, I took care of your mom when she had cancer, you ungrateful, and it just and then it goes off, and it's crazy. I have a screenshot of the dead cat saga.
I have no idea about
it.
This.
All got pulled down.
Oh, really?
Okay, so it's like...
Did someone kill a cat? Or someone say, my cat's dead?
So, basically, let me remember the order of events, because as the posting happened, the mystery unfolded. Basically, it was like... the post starts with someone saying, 3 dogs have escaped in this neighborhood. And then, it keeps on going on from there. More people are posting about these dogs. And then this other lady says, she's like, those dogs just killed my cat. And then it keeps going on and on from there into, then there's arguing. And then somebody else comes on who's like, she's like, I know the owner of the dogs. She's not going to post on here because she's so upset about what happened. And so the person who had the dogs get out won't even get on there. And then the lady whose cat was dead posted a picture of the dead mauled cat and was like, you all have to look at this. Look what they did to my cat.
Look, you bastards. Look what they did. Look what they did to my boy.
It's, dude, straight up. And I was like, oh my God, this is all about to get deleted. And I just took like a screen recording video and scrolled through. I'll find it and show you later.
But that makes my, dude, literally just hearing that right now makes my fingers tingly and light. You know, like I'm having a legitimate reaction to how insane that is.
It is. And I am sad that, well, I'm not sad that the lady's cat died, but I do realize
that is so sad.
I realize I'm being insensitive, but it was, the unfolding of events was pretty entertaining.
Do you really mean that? You're not sad that her cat died?
You know,
I mean, you're not an animal person at all.
Maybe if I knew her, I'd be like, man, I kind of feel bad for your cat. I just feel like it's like, I'd say it turned into such a big deal. It was like like the loss of like a human. Oh, like just this, like all, like the whole community's in an uproar. There was the cat people, the dog people.
Bro, that's honestly so insane that she was like, look.
Oh yeah, this is the dead cat, and it's crazy.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Man, only in small town America you get stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I do love our small town though. I mean, I literally drive down our main road and people are like, what's a small town? I get it. Someone might be like, my small town's only 40 people. We're basically a village of inbreds. And some other people are like, well, my small town is like, 30,000 or 100,000 people. That's a small town, small city. So my small town's about 3,000 people in close proximity, and then another about 10,000 spread out across maybe 1,000 square miles. And I think the crazy thing about all that is that you can have all that drama and stuff like that, but they are still pretty geographically spread out across. The zip code goes all the way up to Wyoming. And so it's a pretty large geographical area. But anyways, back to like just driving down. I love just driving down our single one road downtown and all the fall colors changing and like these old brick buildings, and there's the Italian shop or Italian like restaurant that's up for sale because the owner is getting old. The old Italian man is getting, our one Italian man in town who cooks Italian food is getting old and he's selling. And there's the one Mexican restaurant, the one bar.
Yep.
And then the one diner. And it's just like, I don't know. It's just so peaceful. It's so content and peaceful. And the Facebook drama is just a stark contrast to the relaxed, slow, enjoy life and drink it up living.
Oh yeah, definitely something said for that. They, different places. Just, it's the classic thing of like, if you're raised in a small town, like people are gonna know your business, things like that, whatever. But then also you get all the benefits too of like being known when you walk in somewhere. People, recognize you. They know your name. That sort of thing is special, and definitely it's like so fleeting. Even as lots of cities and towns grow, and then also as like our culture shifts to where we just really don't care to know the person's name.
Yeah. No, I think that's 100% true. And I do find myself seeing, like the people who have been in my town for a while now are telling me like how much it's changing and how much it's changed over the last several years. And I'm sure in the next 10 years, that little town is going to be just like another mini, suburb of Denver. Like I would not be surprised within 10 years that town is 50,000 people.
Absorbed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just crazy how the thing spread. But anyways, with that, I was going to shout out a couple things in the news that we were talking about. I sent you some videos here.
Yeah.
And, I work in the defense sector. I work as a government consultant doing some data science stuff for the defense industry. And dude, Anduril, however you want to pronounce it. Do you know what Anduril is based off of, the name of this company?
I have no idea.
Really? Mm-mm. Think hard. Because it's something I think you'll be like, oh, wait, I should have known that. Anduril. Anduril.
It's just like from
imagine the
from
U,
a story or fantasy.
Yeah. Imagine the U has a little tilde on it.
It's like Lord of the Rings?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's elvish.
It is?
Yeah.
Do you know where that name comes from in Lord of the Rings?
I don't.
So it's Aragorn's sword.
Oh, yeah.
Anduril.
Yeah, okay.
And
yeah.
Anduril in man tongue means the flame of the west.
This is such a crazy name for this thing then.
Well, dude, so Anduril is a defense agency started by none other than Palmer Luckey. Do me a favor, I'm pulling up a video here, and I'll share it with you so you can watch it as well. But Palmer Luckey here is quite a guy. You look at Palmer Luckey and you're like, there's no way this is like real life the CEO of this company. This has to be like some kind of, exaggerative CEO out of like the Terminator movies. But no, this is Palmer Luckey, and he is the mulleted soul patch looking Florida not Florida, but like tropical shirt.
He looks like he should be at spring break.
He looks like he's a boogaloo boy.
Like he's a little old for it, but he's still going to spring break.
Sure, yeah, but I mean, here's my thing that I think about it too is like he is the original. I'll give you a little bit of background before I play the video here. But he got started by creating the Oculus Rift. He created the Oculus Rift at 19 while living in a trailer park in his camper. And he sold it for, I think he sold it for $12 billion, of course, to Facebook. Then he got fired because Facebook didn't like his vision because he's a little based.
Yeah.
He's not politically correct. He's alluded more than once to that he voted for Trump, and that's set his company back because of how many people wanted to punish him for working in the defense sector while being a Silicon Valley company and also voting for Trump. But anyways, here's Palmer Luckey.
Administration than the past one. So people try to tie that to being a Trump thing. The reality is everyone agrees that we need to know what's coming across the U.S. border. There are people who disagree on immigration policy, but immigration policy is separate from awareness of what's coming across the border. And Anduril makes technology that we use to track drug trafficking, human trafficking, arms and cash smuggling in both directions going across the border. Even the people who want open immigration, unlimited immigration, you can walk into the United States and instantly become a citizen. There's nobody outside of a really radical fringe that thinks that the right way to accomplish that is to allow the cartels to operate unimpeded. And so if people say it's controversial, I would say the people who say it's controversial are people who have an interest in making it appear controversial. There's actually very few people who agree with them on that. But the main thing that we do is we're a defense product company. So Anduril is trying to be the world's next major defense contractor.
Little Bloomberg short there, but I mean,
he looks kind of like what's his name? The Redneck Nation guy.
I don't know if I know who that is.
His name just lost me, but yeah, $2 billion at the age of 19. That is insane.
Well, is that what he got, or is that what he sold it for?
That's what he sold it for.
Oh, okay, all right.
But still, like, that's a lot of money.
That's unreal amount of money. And he took that and still did crowdfunding and stuff to get his company built up. I just watched a crazy interview with him where he essentially was just going all across Silicon Valley trying to raise capital for a defense contracting company focused in drones. And everyone was like, no, I don't want anything to do about it. Like, we don't make weapons. But it's kind of crazy because it's like, there's this, he mentioned, he's like, it's unreal to me because there's this moral high ground that like, no, we're not going to invest with a company that's building bombs or weapons of war. And it's like, but you'll invest in Apple that has cobalt mines where children all day are hunched over on their knees mining for cobalt. Like what? This is moral relativism for sure. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And the thing is like, his stuff is going to be like made in a, American factory. And it's going to be an American made like defense product.
What do you think? Like in 30 years from now, are him and Elon going to do together? Going to be in charge of the Autobots? Or are they just not going to be here because they're going to leave for Mars later?
Bro, do you remember the name of the company? Sorry, like I have no idea where to even begin. Right. But do you remember the name of the company that created Skynet?
I don't.
So think about, I just want you to really dig deep into what Skynet is, right? Dig deep in your head. What is the industry? There is a guy named I can't remember his first name, but something Dyson. Do you remember the name of the company? Cyberdyne.
Cyberdyne. All right.
And that company, Cyberdyne, was the company that built Skynet to be like an assistant AI, but also designed it to help be like a defense contracting AI. And a big thing with that was, automated weapons, automated drones, autopiloted drones. And I think one of the craziest things is that there's now a company out there making this mini dragonfly drone. And they're called Teledyne. And I'm just like, come on, guys. Like do not chance it. Like, do not quit dancing it. So, and this is like a little mini drone with like a FLIR camera on it that is like literally the size of, probably, I mean, it's bigger than a hummingbird, but it's probably no bigger than like, from what I've seen, it looks to be about the size of like a, what are those black and white birds? They're like
magpie.
Magpie. Yeah. It looks to be like the size of a magpie. And you can easily put 5 grams of explosives in it and just have it go into like a window or down a chimney and just ruin someone's day. But this other one I sent you, this was Anduril's new Bolt M drone. So I sent you this short, and people watching online will be able to see it. We'll throw it up. But dude, this is the precision remote piloted by AI, targeting a single passenger in a
piloted
vehicle.
By AI.
Yeah, piloted by.
No.
This is not piloted by a human.
Damn it.
Dude, tell me you're not flipped out hearing that, like, after watching this.
That just switched my, like, I was so excited about seeing this Claymore in the shape of a Mavic Pro. Oh. It's wild.
Yeah, one more time. I'm going to let it play over one more time, bro. Because, like, you just see it and you're like, okay, it explodes above that car. And then you see it's like, wait a second. Those are ball bearings going through the windshield, the sunroof.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that, dude. Ooh. And, bro, no other vehicle is going to... Okay, you might get some scratches on the cars around you, but, like, they're not getting hit by those ball bearings.
No. Yeah, I mean... Yeah, like if you're bumper to bumper traffic, someone else is going to get hurt, but otherwise, no.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty targeted, and for like the size of it, like the devastation of it, and the fact that oh man, I thought it was so cool till I learned that it was autonomously
until the system decides Pat has said too much.
Oh,
it just sends it after you.
Wow. You know when COVID started, I said,
I don't know, because we weren't talking that much when COVID started, but
someone brought it up. This was October of 2019, so super early. And I was just like an idiot. I was kind of excited to see what happens. And then the world got a little bit wild. Had some close personal touches with it as well. And anyway, so I don't know if I want to just toss it out there again, but I mean, heck, what are you going to do? You just kind of got to be.
No, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm buying a bird gun.
Yeah, exactly.
I got my upland over under, baby.
You just got to be a little bit excited about it. Like, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
We can't change that. So just get excited about it.
Bro, do you remember Terminator Salvation? Did you watch that one with like the motorcycle Terminators?
Mm-mm.
That's what I'm fucking terrified for. Sorry, pardon my French. I'm terrified for that one, and the Terminator that looks like it's an Autobot with an excavator crane that just scoops people up and puts them in cages to take back to the robots. Unreal. Like Terminator Salvation was like a very mildly okay movie compared to like Terminator 2.
Yeah.
But on its own, you watch it and you're like, wow, the concepts of these machines and how like sophisticated they are with like tracking people is one, very cool, but two, you watch that movie and you're like, that was ahead of its time in science fiction when it came out. That is outdated now. Like I could easily see the, remotely powered Tesla, what would they call them? Not bicycles. They call them something cooler, like Omni wheels. You know what I mean? It like just be like, and see those just like going across the desert chasing after a destination. But all right, so I just sent you another one here. This one is crazy. This one is like, what's cool is like here's how you make yourself like an insanely wealthy company, especially in the defense industry. Create a weapon, then be the only person who can create a counter to that weapon.
Yeah.
Sell them both at unreal amounts
to both sides.
Not both sides, but just I mean, so here's I'll say this. Here's the cool thing about our guy
Peter Lucky.
Yeah, he is a red-blooded American, and there's an ad that he did here for the Barracuda M system that is essentially like he believes America is very outdated when it comes to automated and AI integrated platforms. And his whole mentality is like shoring up America's defenses, not necessarily offenses. And so his whole design philosophy for his company and everything here is to essentially build like products that defend America. And like the whole idea is like that one that we just saw with the Claymore on its back. That one would be used to essentially, offensively defeat an offensive mobile platform. So a vehicle driving at a base of soldiers or at a, let's say it's a vehicle that's been identified as having, a suicide or bomber and it's driving towards a concert venue and it's bobbing and weaving through traffic. And you're like, well, we can't just Predator that shit because if we Predator drone that, we're taking out we're taking out I-25 and gonna cripple Colorado and the economy and probably kill another like 50 people in collateral. So what you do is you send that drone with the Claymore on it to take out that one vehicle, and it's cleaned up in 2 hours, and no one's the wiser.
Yeah.
And so that's that's like the philosophy of all of his approaches here for these drones, which is cool because the AI hopefully is being programmed with like this mentality of like defense, like don't just be going out hunting. Like, you know what I mean? But do you have this one open of the Road Runner?
Yeah, it is.
Did you already watch it?
I was playing a little bit. I'm ready for it.
You son of a biscuit. You weren't supposed to watch it without
I'm sorry. Me. This Peter Lucky looks like Danny McBride on the jet ski.
He kind of does. I think he looks way more youthful, and
it's a mix.
I think he's kind of like. I think he's very handsome.
Oh yeah, but also, do you know who Ryan Upchurch is? He's a YouTuber or whatever, but it's a mix of Ryan Upchurch and Danny McBride.
Okay, all right. Roadrunner launches out of a mobile platform system. It's an Interceptor variant, the Roadrunner M, and it's honestly flying around looking like it kind of looks like it's got a cape, like its fins are really wide. Single operator can supervise multiple Roadrunners, and they're capable of intercepting jet-powered threats. Look at this, dude. Look at the way it intercepts this jet.
It's in a case the size of a Yeti.
Yeah. It just drops something off in the flight path of that rocket, and it returns to base, baby. Self lands, reusable. Look at bro. That's what's crazy. That's exactly how Superman lands.
It's like, wow.
It's unreal to me right now what I'm looking at, dude. It's like actually like that's out of a movie.
Pardon my French, but it's basically a big black dildo.
Yeah, it kind of is.
That is Superman.
Yeah.
That's what this thing is. It's in look it up, the Angel Roadrunner. And it is kind of want one.
Does this be sick to have one?
I mean, think it's funny because like, like under where does your 2A run out? Like
yeah, to
have the drone with the Claymore, you gotta have some sort of something. There's some classifications or licensing or something going on there. But anyways, my gosh, they have all sorts of things. I'm gonna have to dig into
I'm gonna send you the Barracuda one. This is the craziest thing, man, that like we live in a day and age where there's straight up a cell shaded anime commercial for a cruise missile. So here, 1 second while I share this to you, but like I saw this, I was like, this is not real. And I was like, wow, what a time to be alive. Have you heard of the meme like before GTA 6? Like
I haven't yet.
We got Donald Trump as a president before GTA 6 came out.
Oh.
We got, XYZ before GTA 6 came out. And a lot of people were like commenting on this video like, bro, we got cell shaded defense contractor cruise missile commercials before GTA 6 came out.
Yeah. All right, you ready?
All right, I'm playing it now.
This looks like the intro for Kim Possible.
Mass producing at a cheap cost.
It's just like, what's that? Gundam?
It does look like a freaking modern Gundam cartoon.
All my anime stopped in 1999.
Yeah.
All my references. Wow. That's wild.
No, like, watch. Look at all the other ones.
Oh. Oh, man.
That's the crazy thing to me is that the in a presentation he did, I don't think it's in that video, but in a presentation he did, he went over how as current estimates of like the U.S. defense network of interceptor missiles, they would be depleted in a 9-day war with China. Like within 9 days, we would exhaust all resources of interceptor and intercontinental intercepting like defense weapons because of how much China has offensively.
Right. And probably how much we haven't had. Like in Israel's case.
Iron Dome, baby.
Like necessary to have a very large, like, you know.
And that's what, well, I mean, that is crazy. Is like we look at Israel. Israel isn't having like those massive Iron Dome nights fending off tens of thousands of missiles. I don't even know if it was tens of thousands. I think the most they did in a night was like 2,000-3,000.
Less, but still, I mean, a lot, but not like not in. It's been sustained now, but not in those large scale barrages. Where if it was 1,000 a night, right, where you deplete your stuff pretty quick.
Well, yeah, and like that's what I'm saying. Like if like Israel probably doesn't have the means to do that for 30 days, right? And but that's like what Anduril's trying to do. Anduril's trying to essentially set up like scaled to cost and demand defense network for U.S. and U.S. allies of like essentially a defense missile network that like these aren't going to be the missiles you send to take down, you know, a massive base that's heavily fortified and well defended for, you know, this isn't what you would send to like an airfield.
Right.
This is like what you keep on your home turf. This is what you put on top of the White House. Right.
Right.
And you can launch 1,000 of these to intercept 1,000 1,000 ballistic missiles flying towards Washington, D.C. And so like that, and or like a lot of them, like I've heard the argument made, like you would work with civilian flight paths. So if like someone was using drone warfare to target civilian commercial flights, then you would use these to then be intercepting those drones that would be essentially lying in wait to hit those planes as they're taking off or landing, because the drones wouldn't go up and try to intercept them at 21,000 feet altitude. Right. You know, the drones would be around airports and flying in to intercept them, you know, as planes are coming in and taxiing. And so like you'd have this set up to literally like just be something that like people get used to, right? Like just imagine you're at DIA and you just see like a little orange bloom, another orange bloom. And it's like not even an announcement at the airport. It's just like yeah,
what it is.
Yeah, someone was out there doing shit and those things flew and blew them up.
Yeah.
It was like no one thinks about it anymore.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing.
And I think back to the Israel point too, like kind of getting close to that in some ways, mentality where like planes are flying in and out of there and stuff is being intercepted. Right. And then taking it to a whole new level of this type of stuff. Man, I mean, this guy, the big dogs have to hate this guy, you know, Lockheed, Boeing, Raytheon.
I think they're pretty impressed and also threatened by, you know, what he's able to pull off. Let me see here. This Black Hornet video, I think is it's a little bit longer than I like. I'm looking for essentially an example of the Black Hornet from Teledyne. This will work. I'll open and send it to you. You can just kind of skim through it. But this is essentially Teledyne, which again, I'm just like, guys, come on. Like, pick a different name. Pick like Benevolent AI.
They knew what they were
just
doing.
Yeah, I mean, they do. And they're like, oh, you. It's kind of like what is that story about it's like a Greek story about that guy tempting the gods by like essentially, you know, calling upon them. It's essentially like, Zeus, strike me down. And it's like, why tempt it, bro?
Yep. All right, it came through.
Yep. So the Black Hornet 4 Nano UAV, the future of battlefield reconnaissance.
So we just got this
on body case for this UAV.
The size of a Coke can.
Look at that thing in his index finger and thumb.
So we got guys like breaching a building stacked up, and he just sends this little Coke can sized drone up. Surveillance.
A palm pad screen with camera view.
I love that it actually looks like it's not a quadcopter. It's actually a helicopter.
I love that it's not CGI. Like, this is the real thing in use.
Mm-hmm. I have that ladder.
I'm sure they're legitimately, like, also picking the setting to look like Ukraine.
Everything's a video game.
I mean, that's what, like, that's the interface that most young men going into combat are familiar with. You know what I mean?
And it's better. A little joystick action. Oh, send it through the trench. It's so small.
Yeah, like you wouldn't. I don't even know like how you would notice that, bro. You know how like you have a hard time noticing dragonflies with depth perception and how they can move laterally.
Mm-hmm. And in a war zone, yeah, they really did make this look like Ukraine on purpose. My goodness, the trenches. But I wonder what the battery life is on this thing.
Someone said 100 minutes.
That's impressive.
That's unreal, bro. For like something that small, you got to imagine the majority of its weight is the battery, and it has the world's smallest thermal camera. Now the resolution sounds like garbage, 650 by 512. But when you see it and you realize like, oh, all you really need is to have contrast with that thermal camera. You don't need to have a perfect silhouette. You just need to know
what's going on.
There's orange stuff over there.
Yeah, man, that's wild. This is basically, it's like, its main thing is it's surveillance, right? That's the...
Yeah, but I mean, like, I think it was a legitimate effort to not demonstrate it being packed with explosives. But like, dude, it would not take many explosives to make that thing super lethal.
No, not at all.
Like, this is gonna, like, imagine like the real paranoia of the 21st century battlefield. Like, we have not even approached the late stages of what the 21st century battlefield is gonna be. And dude, people are going to stop building houses with chimneys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you can have a drone the size of a small bird fly down in it with a few grams of explosives and just fly and like land on your chest while you're sleeping. You wake up, look down, you just see it there, camera aperture is on your face, and then boom. Like, that's crazy, bro. We're in a whole different, ballpark when it comes to modern warfare now.
It's crazy. And I guess I'm trying to figure out too, because it's flare. It's a flare camera. But like, was Teledyne the company that came out with flare originally in the first place? Like,
I don't know.
Because flare's not flare's not a...
I think they just specialize in flare cameras.
But like, I thought flare was a company, not a type. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I think flare just stands for something IR. Texas Instruments made the first forward-looking infrared camera. Yeah.
Okay.
Forward-looking infrared. Flare.
All right. So I see now. This makes more sense. But
Kirby Taylor, thank you, sir. Texas Instruments, bro. Love those guys.
But the logo on all the flare stuff now, like, they might have like copyrighted the or trademarked the acronym.
You think so?
I think so, because all their if you just look up any flare camera is for sale is these guys. There's other stuff out there that you can use, but the majority of stuff, like even like they sell one that I have that just clicks into the bottom of your iPhone. that I use for construction. But the I don't know. I'll maybe look at that more. It might be. I wonder if it's like Gore-Tex. You know how like
Gore-Tex is now copyright or not copyrighted, but
it's their own company.
Trademarked.
Yeah, and so they're on like their logos on any company that uses their tech. I don't know, but whatever. That's wild. That thing was pretty impressive, especially if the flight time's that long. That's probably one of the most impressive pieces for how tiny it is.
I'm going to show you this one. This is like the big one too. This is like by Anduril again. We're going back to Anduril, but this is their Ghost X UAV, and it's like again like really cool. I'm sure you could put grenades on it and ruin someone's day, but it is like it's as small as you can get with like a very quiet high tech helicopter that has really good flight time and is pretty packable. This thing's the size of like I don't know. It says it has a 25 kilometers operating range and can carry 25 pounds for a payload capacity. It's very adaptable to weather environments.
It's like 6 feet long it's like a helicopter with a rotor and a tiller, but
but it's not like a real. Honestly, the way it looks to me is like get a Ma Deuce Browning machine gun and put a helicopter rotor on it, and that's kind of like what it looks like.
Mm-hmm. This thing is. How much do these things cost? 5 times less for us.
Adjustable rail mount. Yeah, it is 5 times less for us. It's going to be 5 times more for our allies and 20 times more for our competitors in the warfare. Whoa, there you go. Missile systems on board on the wings. Okay, so like that was pretty sick at what was that? 1 minute?
Yeah.
They don't even say like can be outfitted with weapons. They're just like flexible effects delivery. What?
It's a tiny helicopter.
Look at it though. They show it taking off in the rain.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty sick. 90 minutes of cruise effective range. I mean, dude, this is unreal to me, man. Like, this is... I get, like, a lot of people are probably going to see this like, yeah, it makes sense they could do this if they could do it with the tiny one. But I'm just, like, thinking, like, bro, it was in my lifetime that the octagonal 8-rotor film drones that weigh 2,000 pounds were invented so they could get high altitude elevation drone shots. And like here we are now with like this system. It's pretty unreal. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, just imagine you're just chilling and there's 2 of these. One is just literally doing targeting information and getting best a best trajectory path to the target, and it is just getting a full 360 full 360 degree identification of the environment around the target, relaying that information to the other one that's just posted up with missiles on its wings. And like they're just cooperating autonomously without any pilot interference.
What I'm feeling watching this is like that robot on Hoth in Empire Strikes Back that pops up. It's the weird like spidery looking one.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But like this looks like the same thing to me. That Han Solo has to shoot with his blaster.
Damn, bro, there he goes. Drops a payload right on that truck. Oh, well, it's not going to show us, I guess. It just showed them drop it, but it was a dummy one.
Yeah.
It's very unsettling, man. Like, it's like supremely unsettling with how they make those trailers to look like. I mean, they're even using like 80s percussion synth music tracks. Like it's very reminiscent of, every action 80s movie.
And then like to have 2 flying in formation rise into frame.
Just like a fucking patchy gunships,
in the
bro.
In the orange sunset, like rise and bank.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing.
They're playing on my nostalgia. It's working. I'm rooting for the robots. Pretty crazy. Anyways, those I think were the main things I sent you that I wanted to go over. Just because I was so impressed with that like demonstration. And again, like this came out like over a month ago, but it's making the rounds now. as like more and more videos from his demonstration and speech are making the circuit. But just pretty crazy stuff. Hey, Andrew, hit your boy up. Would love to be on your side of it. Would love to have my name and, freaking address programmed into the defense code for that. You know what I mean? Like World War III falls apart and I just have like 5 of those drones show up to protect my house.
Wouldn't be a bad position.
Fail-safe protocol. Yeah.
No kidding. It is insane to think about, like, I don't know. The technology advancements were like playing on an original Game Boy.
Yeah.
And now you have this.
Mm-hmm.
What? It's insane.
It's crazy. I do kind of wonder, like, I do want to look up to, like, in just the 20th century, what war did to change how we build houses in cities. I mean, because war with cannons were essentially the end of castles.
Right.
You know what I mean? People were like, well, there's no reason to really build these walls and castles anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Might as well build outwards. We don't need to, like, pile everyone in tight, tiny corners and small roads behind these giant stone walls to keep troops out, because turns out it's actually pretty bad to be in the castle walls when cannons are blowing brick and mortar down on your head. And so then, like, we started expanding outward again and started, like, I mean, honestly, like, if you want to really be, like, particular, gunpowder is the reason we have suburbs. I was watching a thing on that of, like, the expansion in space of building neighborhoods is a direct result from, like, way back when gunpowder got introduced, essentially, and cannons came around, and people were like, maybe we should spread people out. More low to the ground structures, and not tall, narrow structures.
Definitely, because I mean, lots of if you go travel Europe, other old places that have old architecture like that, you were defending against arrows and spears and people with swords. And so
a great way to ruin a sword guy's day is to have a very tall, narrow structure that he cannot swing and get up. Like, he can't just walk up it very easily.
You kill him with a rock.
Exactly. Or just, like,
a little hot oil on the head.
Stand on stairs, a spiral staircase that's not very wide for him to swing on. He comes around the stairs and you just, throw a rock down the stairs or jab around it with a spear. It's just, I just wonder, like, what else has changed in our century. Like, drones are going to have to somehow change the environment. Like, what if drones bring back the whole concept of, like, growing big ass trees over your house?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like someone creates some kind of mesh, like transparent fish wire net that goes up over, that can be deployed very easily. So it's like, oh, drones are coming in and blowing up people's houses. You just deploy your net, and so it catches the drones in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
I don't know, bro.
And it's hard too, because at this point, what's weird too, because there's not, the warfare piece is a huge part of it, and then the cultural pieces of it are just like ability to be an individual, sufficient on your own. Like, I have multiple vehicles, some disposable income, and I can order anything that shows up on my doorstep the next day. And so, like, all those types of things too. Now we're like, have allowed us to become so non-reliant, comfortable, and also non-reliant on the people around us.
Yeah.
Like, where it would have been back in the day, the tribe from over the hills coming, so everybody get inside the walls.
Cowabunga, dude.
Yeah, we're gonna fight them off, right?
Yeah.
And then the technological advancements make it where you go, well, what the hell do I do against any of that? And then we live in the empire, so we don't have to worry about any of it, at the moment. I mean, so we don't take into consideration some of these things like other places might. And so it will be interesting to see how, if and when, we're people start thinking differently about how they get ready for things like this that were just not a consideration. Just like how a castle wall, like you were saying, no one knew about a mortar, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, cannon pointed straight up, it's going to come down in there. And but then once certain things become mainstream, then what? And even like there's a company coming out with this. I'm so not tech savvy. I don't even know what it does, but it's basically like it's a device that you can set up in your neighborhood, and like they're selling it to HOAs right now because you can set up in your HOA, and it's EMP proof. It'll keep you online via satellites, and it just
it's like the internet, but like local.
It's like local internet,
yeah.
But it still keeps you up on, I mean, obviously if satellites go down, that's different. But, if your local cell phone network goes down, everything else goes down, you still have everything just as if nothing happened.
I can't remember what it's exactly called, but that has been something that I've seen a lot of prep channels, like YouTube prepper channels going over of like, hey, you and your guys can have your own private internet that like is online and free. If you just have these products and keep them turned on, no matter what happens, you're gonna have it like a network of communications where you can text and stuff.
Yep.
Regardless of cell towers.
Yep.
And I was like, that's pretty sick. And then now it sounds like people really caught on to that, and they're like, hey, like community of 2,000 homes. You can stay online in an emergency network. Call amongst yourselves, whatever, right? Which is kind of weird because I think we're starting to get to this point. I think we reached at email. I think email was when we reached the pinnacle of, hey, doesn't matter how far away we are, we can always stay in touch. And
right.
like that encouraged people to be comfortable with going away from loved ones and home and spreading out. And I think technology is getting to the point where it's so scary and we're so dependent on it that solutions are being proposed that no matter how bad it gets, as long as you got people close by, as long as you and the people you love are within a 5-10 mile radius of each other, you're going to keep, you're going to stay online. You're going to have your power. You're going to have your solar panels. You're going to have your internet. You're going to have your comm system. And it's weird. It's becoming insular again. And it's almost like, I think I like it. I like the concept of it, like rebounding from like, you can spread out and get as far away from your family as you want and still maintain an email or a phone call. And I was like, no. We should still like stay really close together because now we have this technology that no matter how bad it gets, like I won't have to like run 10 miles to your house to see if you're okay. Like we'll always have the comm system.
Right.
And it is like kind of like a rubber band stretching and pulling back in on itself, it feels like. And I don't know if that's just a generational thing, but that is the vibe I'm seeing a lot of right now.
And because it is crazy, like think about when's the last time you were with a group of people and you went somewhere and you made a plan for later that day, like how to meet up, meaning like, all right,
Mexico.
Yeah, for sure. But like, and also you might be the type of person who would make a plan.
Well, I mean, it was literally like Mexico on mission trips as in like high school.
Right. So that like because
that's the last time I can remember it.
Exactly. So a while ago too, and being like, as a kid, I remember all the time. It was all right. Like everybody here by 3:00. If you're not here by 3, like we're coming to look for you. Type thing. Like and like
you're gonna be kind of in trouble.
I'm gonna be in trouble. And that was also like young events stuff too. And then like even as adults at the time would still make plans too. Like, hey, if we like at the mall, if we like meet at the Annie Ann's in 30 minutes, and that's just the plan like that. And you stick to the plan, and other people are also depending on you to stick to the plan. And so there wasn't just a convenience fact. We gained a convenience factor by being able to just text or even heck find my friends and then go find someone over in the other side of the mall. But there's I feel like there's a social psychology component to how groups work together and thought about each other, even in this micro example of, okay, This is the plan. I have to stick to it. Other people are depending on me. There is no other way forward. There's no other thing that we're going to do. Like, even if I'm having a really fun time over at the mini golf place, I'm going to be at the Annie Ann's at 3:00. Like, that's like that sort of thing. And so, and obviously I'm using this small example, but then where does that extend out into how people consider and think about others? You know, because it's gotten so easy. Yeah, like even, whoever is traveling out of the country, no big deal. I'll just Find My Friends. I can see them right there. I can FaceTime them, you know?
Well, and I think that's the weird thing too, is that I think more and more often now, it's not just me being the paranoid guy of like, I don't want that on.
Mm-hmm.
I think people are turning that off because they are now starting to have the fear of like, who's watching.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want anyone other than my close family friends knowing where I'm at, and I'll tell them where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
And I will have an insular connection with them about my location that doesn't just say, hey, Mick's phone is here.
Right.
And so like I've never had a Find My Friends tracker or anything turned on any of my phones or devices because I just don't like that idea of anything with access to that application and ID being able to geo-track me. Now, they're still tracking me. Like there's,
right.
They're still pinging me off of my watch or my phone, right?
It's out of principle.
It is out of principle of just like make it one step more difficult, right? But it is one of those things too of like, I also like the idea of like no one is going to be relying on a Find My Friends app to know if I'm okay or anything like that in an emergency. Like what they're going to be relying on is like my word and my plan of action and what I've communicated to them, which I think is a far better plan than just something saying, well, he's either dead or alive, but he's right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I don't know, but sorry, while we're talking about this, I'm going to share this video with you I saw earlier today. It's called Overland AI. Have you seen this?
I have not.
This is a company. This is unreal to me. They only have just under 700 subscribers on YouTube, but they are the leaders, quote unquote. They are the leaders of real off-road autonomy. I've been watching their videos, man, and it really does look like their vehicles are completely automated, and can be manually overcome to be driven manually, right? But they're essentially just creating AI driven and navigated overland vehicles that are just like what are they called, like the rhinos, you know what I'm talking about? Like the dual cab, roll cage, all terrain vehicles. So they're using, I don't know what map system they're using, what GPS system they're using, if they're using preset coordinates of, you know, essentially like flag post to flag post. But bro, seeing a car like being able to handle navigation with no roads is pretty unreal to me, because I know how basic vehicle navigation works, of using roads and signage and GPS coordinates. But here's the thing, man, like those GPS coordinates are so heavily refined for roads and streets.
Right.
You know, think about like, I think we've had Google Earth going around taking pictures for GPS systems since I was in middle school, like 2006, 2007.
And how often they're still out. I see the Google car all the time.
They're constantly updating. And so to me, I'm wondering like, what are these things using to navigate overland? Because this is not nearly as defined and clear and well documented for, you know, actual data points of navigation.
For real. And like,
isn't that nuts? Like, tell me that's not sick. Can you, because here's the thing that, okay, immediately here's where I got to with it, right? Me and Pat having to, you know, just charge out of the wood line. Pat's got our freaking boy Rice-A-Roni on his shoulders. And we're just running. And as we're running, I'm just hearing over comms. Freaking Dean just like, it's pulling up. And like we just see like tearing up mud coming off of like out of like around the bushes. Just a fully automated rhino. And we just put Rice-A-Roni in the back. I'm providing cover fire. Rice-A-Roni now is able to provide cover fire from the rear back guard. You and I are both able to get in the driver passenger, provide cover fire, and the thing's driving itself. I don't need to worry about hand on the wheel, gas pedal, brake pedal, gear shift. Oh, all by also need to draw my sidearm to put a few rounds. It's like, I think this is the craziest thing because like it really was this ad here for Overland AI that made me realize like, holy smokes, imagine a cop who just has a fully AI piloted, assisted
like a
cruiser.
A true kit.
Like a true cruiser that is like, Officer Pat, I will make sure that you have the most opportune moment for making the shot to save the hostage. And like that cruiser's freaking doing some
Knight Rider.
Exactly, it's Knight Rider. It is putting you in a position where you don't need to worry about the multitask. For anyone who doesn't understand the complexity of trying to drive a car in a high stress offensive engagement, take an offensive driver's course for like one Saturday. It's not that hard. You can probably find them in any major city near you, like any capital city. And you go practice in a parking lot and you will realize like, holy smokes, hand on the gear shift, hand on the wheel, pedal and gas. Braking gas, maybe even emergency braking there is insanely difficult to coordinate across, let alone if you're working with something that has manual transmission. Now imagine you're a police officer or in a defensive situation, and you're also having to take a hand off of one of those things at some moment in time to draw the firearm and engage. That is bonkers.
Oh, yeah.
Now imagine you don't have to worry about any of that other than sight picture and drawing your firearm. You know what I mean? It's crazy. And like, I think this Overland AI was the thing that I really saw. I was like, dude, we're going to be seeing this literally in, you know, aerial reconnaissance footage, documenting missions of, you know, some of our JSOC teams or, you know, DevGru guys that are going to be working with AI piloted overland vehicles, and they don't have to worry about driving. They're able to do triage on a kit buddy, and as well as do covering fire without having to worry about turning or twisting the wheel, which is unreal to me. Like, that's crazy. So,
oh yeah. Turns out it was cool to be in robotics club. You know,
yeah. Turns out robotics club when you were in middle school,
making that Lego was go from point A to point B.
Yeah, it was insanely advantageous to where we're at today. Which I think is like everyone probably thought robotics club was dumb or lame, just because they're like, yeah, we're not going to be able to do like the cool stuff in the movies where it's like Terminator, and here we are. You know what I mean? Totally pivoting. I wanted to hear your thoughts. Did you read this article about the Montana rancher I sent you?
There's a couple different things about this article that are you could dive into, and I'm torn on how I feel about it.
Because on one hand, you want to one day be able to hunt a T-Rex.
Well, not that so much as so. I guess,
okay, all right.
Well, let's give him a breakdown of. Do you want to summarize it for him real quick?
Yeah, essentially this absolute badass. Revealing my bias immediately. This absolute insane Chad named Arthur, quote unquote, goes by Jack. Shubareth. Shubareth? How would you say that?
Yeah.
Shubarth.
We'll call him, Arthur. We'll call him Jack. That's why he goes by Jack, because his last name's so hard to say.
Yeah, no kidding. So Jack cloned some illegally imported genetic material from Marco Polo Argali to create hybrid sheep that would draw higher prices from hunting preserves in Montana. And he has now been sentenced to 6 months in prison for his entire operation. But essentially, bro, he's illegally importing the sperm and genetic materials of these Marco Polo sheep, which are massive. I mean, I'm looking at pictures of these things, and I'm sure Pat,
twice the size of like a bighorn.
Well, yeah, throw them up on like, you could probably throw some pictures up that are like not copyrighted, right, or something. But like, I mean, these things look to be about the size of like some cattle, if not at least the size of some deer. You know what I mean? Like these are mountain sheep the size of deer. And like their horns are spiraling sometimes a full 2 circuits, which is just unreal, man. They're massive. But anyway, so Jack imports their genetic material and starts impregnating some mountain sheep embryos to create a hybrid species here in the United States. And apparently he got a little out of hand with it, and he originally was doing it to have them on his hunting preserve where people could come and hunt on his hunting preserve and hunt these massive sheep, bigger sheep than anywhere else in America. He didn't outright say they're Marco Polo hybrid sheeps. He just said, hey, you could come to my reserve and hunt these sheep that are huge, through breeding. And apparently some of these sheep got out and beyond Montana, and some wildlife officers, I don't really know if it says specifically which department it was, but they started seeing these dead sheep, and they're like, wait a second, this is not like a North American mountain goat. Like, this thing's big. And they started doing DNA testing, and they're like, wait a second, this is coming up back as like part Marco Polo, what the hell? And they zeroed in on like the density and just kind of tracked these sheeps and traced them all the way back to good old Jack in Montana. It was the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service Office of Law Enforcement that found him. And they seem to have also caused some issues. Like 2 of them died from chronic wasting disease, which is of course a very, severe problem for certain populations of animals that we like to hunt and, conservation efforts. But it just he's getting essentially prosecuted for 1, doing something illegal of importing, species illegally, 2, creating this like hybrid species for, financial gain, quote unquote. And like the last one is just like not being able to, properly follow procedure for, these kind of like preserves that we have here for hunting, because all these things got out. And unfortunately, it wasn't just in this Smithsonian article, but there's another one I read where like apparently they didn't say they killed them all, but Department of Fish and Wildlife said that they have contained all of the hybrid sheep, which makes me believe that they killed them all, which is kind of a bummer, because you just think like, that there's life that came into creation, and it's kind of sick, it's like it is new. It's a new genus of an animal that, like, sure, contain it, don't let it get out, but like let people hunt it, let study it, see, like, I don't know, it is like on one hand, quote unquote, people will say it's playing God. And I'm on the other hand, I'm like, look, if God didn't want us to genetically splice and mix and match things, then like it wouldn't be happening. Like,
yeah, I think that is a slippery slope.
It is a slippery slope, but I'm just saying, like, I don't think there's any, like, we do the same thing with dogs and cats. I don't think it's wrong to do it with sheep and like hunting like animals of interest.
For sure. And I think that the different areas here for me are, I'll start off with kind of the parts that are hard for me, which would be, 1, the dudes. It's hard for me to see any old person go to jail in general. The guy is 81 years old.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
that is like, it's kind of like, I don't know that. In anyway, so, and I'd say for also maybe a crime like this, there's other crimes that you get to go to jail for forever, or in my opinion, get to be exterminated forever. But in a crime like this, anyways, it's hard for me to see old people go to jail. The other piece being in some ways, this is something that at a certain point in time would have been celebrated. The crossbreeding of a species and the this new thing being released. And so, if it was, I feel like back in the day, this, if you were crossbreeding or genetically enhancing something, it'd be celebrated. And so, back in the day too, you could kind of do whatever you wanted. It was a brave new world out there. But now there's lots of people in charge of what you can and can't do. That being said, we've also learned a lot from our mistakes of why you can and can't do stuff. So, speaking to sheep populations in America are declining due to disease and a couple other factors, but when you have, we take pretty seriously our wildlife populations and other things getting in the mix, messing things up. Even like when you travel to Hawaii, like you can't even bring an apple in, right? Because you could wreck, like if the wrong thing gets in there, you could wreck their whole ecological, thing they have going on. So, the guy messed up big time, and he is playing God a little bit, and that's like a whole nother like conversation that he's not really even getting in trouble for one way or the other. But like the biggest thing he's getting in trouble for is, illegally transporting genetic material, and then the next one being that these sheep are going to get out and change what we do have, which is like we have our own species of sheep. So eventually, when you do mess with these things, you're going to have repercussions for our sheep populations, and which are a really special thing in North America.
I got to stop you there, Pat. Yeah. I have to.
All right.
I have to speak up for all of my men at home, men and women probably, who want to hunt saber-toothed tigers.
Oh, yeah.
And so, I mean, Pat, I get the moral, relativistic. This is an impact on the current established ecosystem and ecological balance, the food chain, and the way things interact. The butterfly effect of, altering one aspect of this could cause a catastrophe. Given the opportunity to hunt a saber-toothed tiger or a freaking short-snouted cave bear or a woolly mammoth or a woolly rhinoceros, would you not be like, yeah, bring them mothers back? A dire wolf, a wolf the size of a bear.
Right. I would take the opportunity to hunt it if it was already. I'm taking a cop-out answer. I would take the opportunity to hunt it.
You suck.
I'm practicing my being a politician. If I could, if they existed, I'd go hunt them. But like the
Mr. Pat, we have the technology.
Yeah, to rebuild.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Keep going.
I think that, like I was saying before, I'm torn because I think that what he did is kind of cool.
It's kind of sick.
It's like
kind of sick is like his lasting life legacy.
It's like a wild scientist, man, to like breed these sheep. Granted, at the same time, I do think that it's also kind of like every mad scientist movie where like, and they have like the right motive. Like most mad scientists aren't like in very many situations aren't seeking to like destroy the world. They're just like, this must be done, and then they do it, but then it escapes the lab, and then the repercussions of that thing getting out of the lab are then detrimental. And so that's what we literally had that situation happen here where they got out and they said they killed all of them. I'll tell you this.
Did you read another article where they said they killed them all?
No, that's,
they said they contained them.
That's what I mean. Sorry, we're saying where they contained all of them. But that being said, that doesn't mean there isn't a couple out there like breeding with like the populations, whatever. So I think
life finds a way.
For real.
Dr. Malcolm.
In one part of me, I'm just so torn between the part of me that says, you know what, this is wild and this guy gets to do what he wants with his life. And then the other part of me going, okay, this guy's going to wreck something that a lot of people have really fought to maintain, like our sheep populations, our sheep herds.
Yeah.
It's a big, like
livestock stuff.
Like on the high end, what do you think people pay sometimes to go shoot a sheep?
We're talking like, native mountain goat, sheep's, rams in America.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure on the high end it can get up to like $5,000 because it's a probably pretty intensive track in some regions.
For sure. 60
$60,000 in North America.
150.
What?
People will pay crazy money for now. I'll say this: you can get into a draw for a lot cheaper. It's very hard to get the tag, but they have things called like governor tags and things to go like hunt these sheep. And if you go into a draw or a lottery, you can get in for a lot less.
It takes 25 years.
Right. So like for $400 a year, you can try, or you can drop big money. And I'm not talking private ranch, not like there's private ranch out there where you go and, or like an Africa hunt where you go and you pay tons of money to shoot these things. I'm talking like a public land hunt for a sheep, big money. So like basically this dude was messing with like stuff that people, so like taking everything out of it, just the fact that there are people out there who care a lot about that the population of sheep in North America. So he's messing with a thing that certain people are very like
I didn't know that.
So that's big money.
Are sheep the most expensive thing to hunt in North America?
I think so. Yeah. Like if we're taking I don't even think there's any like exotic animals you kill in North America that are nearly that expensive. So yeah, I mean, just like, straight up.
I know grizzlies are not remotely that expensive in Alaska.
No, not even close. Yeah. So it's like, big money. The sheep are one of the top dollar hunts out there.
Wow.
And some of that's for like I was saying, public land, not a done deal. You don't drive out in a truck and get it. You got to like climb crags and like maybe die falling off of them to go kill it. Like, so people, it's just like he messed with a big old thing, and it that's where his downfall ultimately came. Like, honestly, if you want to do this, like he should have done it like, I don't know, like in Mexico.
No shit.
Like where
it's not like no one's gonna put that time and effort in Mexico for that.
Right. Yeah. So like go to other countries that like don't care if you want to like do a weird science experiment and see if you can, and the fact that I think it was monetarily motivated versus like scientifically motivated.
Yeah, for sure.
And so that's where he went wrong. It is hard to watch this old man get thrown in jail for quite a long time. But that being said, just part of what I was explaining was that's why people were pretty pissed. So
yeah, I understand that. I guess I mean, here's the thing, man. I don't think people would care if it was a type of cattle.
Yep.
Because and you know why is because it's money. I bet the number one thing that really was pushing on the back of the necks of those Parks and Wildlife officers were the people who were like pissed that they might lose money out on people not doing their hunts. And I know that's a cynical thing, but I don't know. It's just hard for me to believe. I also just think like, I don't know. I'm kind of the mindset that like we're only here once and this is a temporary place. And yes, I do believe biblically God charged us to be good stewards over it. I don't believe that rules out not using technology to bring back Allosauruses that can be the most dangerous game.
For real. And
imagine this. No, this is dark. Okay, this is entirely a joke. But imagine this. We could just bring back Neanderthals and just give them spears and clubs and let them just like live on a preserve. You could pay money. You could pay money to go hunt them with like a bow and arrow.
That is some ethical gray area for sure. Because are they human?
Not really.
That's wild.
No, I'm just kidding. I think they are still humans.
No, for real.
But like, it's one of those. It's so funny. My mother-in-law is like got like 0.8% Neanderthal.
Oh yeah,
which is more than 99.99% of people in the world. But anyways, All that said, I do think it's a fascinating thing for a lot of the reasons you said. I personally believe, one, it's not a very harsh punishment, 6 months. And two, people were pushing for way harsher than when they're prosecuting him.
For sure. And this happened in Montana, right?
Yeah.
All right. To governor tags, which is good for sheep. One sold for 2013, 480,000.
Oh my goodness.
Another one in 2022 for 360,000. That was in Montana alone. So what I want to bring this to
Holy shit.
So I want to bring this to money. And I'll tell you this. He messed with big money.
Yeah.
And he got
lucky.
And he got in this world. And on the flip side, our conversation earlier where we're looking at all this cool advanced weaponry. I'll say this.
I see where you're going.
If he had gone outside of the bounds to create something in the military sphere that was highly valuable, instead of being jailed,
he would be on the other end of
he would be celebrated and making tons of money if he had created something that could kill people.
Yeah.
Really, if he created something that was really good at killing people, he would be living scot-free and rich as heck, huge legacy. And so either way, he messed with big money, and it's just, I think that's an interesting thing that,
I thought you were going to say he's lucky he didn't end up on the receiving end of a Roadrunner -M.
And that's the thing is, like, the people buying these tags could buy one if they wanted.
They could buy a Roadrunner -M,
Exactly.
Claymore, and just like have that thing target him.
Exactly. So he got up into he flew too close to the sun, and
good old Icarus.
And if he'd used that innovation to kill people, he'd be better off, which is a little bit of an ethical dilemma, in my opinion, which is why I see this guy doing this thing. And I'm kind of like, what's the big deal? I get why it's a big deal. And then also I said
on the other side of it. Yeah.
There it is. It's all about money.
I mean, here's the truth is that I highly believe in our lifetime, we will see a woolly mammoth born, or, a woolly mammoth hybrid born from an Asian or African elephant.
They're working on cloning them.
I mean, they've been working on them for a very long time. A lot of people have given up hope. I personally truly do believe we'll see it happen. And I think we'll see like thousands and thousands of other clones based off of genetic material. Clones that, like, to most people seem insignificant, but just like, I think a lot of people don't understand, how many Native American birds, right? I mean, like, birds that were native to the Americas that were hunted to extinction, right? I don't think a lot of people understand how many of those there are that are now extinct. I do think there is a day in our lifetime, Pat, where you and I might be able to get tags to seasonally hunt carrier pigeons again. You know what I mean? I can really see that. I also know, like, sheep cloning was a big part of sheep conservation, which is what makes me believe he had the means to access this material, because sheep cloning has been like something that was like always like that's been essentially the basis for a lot of genetic animal cloning. So all that said, like, I have suspended a lot of the quote unquote plain God arguments of morality in regards to this stuff. I do think the strongest argument against introducing these animals and species or cloning extinct ones is specifically just disease. I truly do believe that's the strongest moral argument. If you're introducing an animal that was a vector for a highly contagious disease and is now extinct, there's a good chance the disease returns with that animal. I mean, we see it with the bubonic plague. Like, the bubonic plague that wiped out 2/3 of Europe is still around today. We just have an immunity to it, and we also have vaccines to it for those who don't have immunities. But it still is, like, carried by squirrels and raccoons and skunks. There's other diseases that have, quote unquote, lapsed historically that I think could make a return if you bring back their carriers. And it wouldn't be that hard for me to imagine, you bring back the woolly mammoth, some kind of far-flung tundra disease, that we aren't aware about or aren't really fixated on, hops into the woolly mammoth, crosses into the Asiatic elephant species, and then now we lose all of our Asian elephant population. Oh yeah, by the way, also the woolly mammoth dies. And now like we've crippled another part of the ecology. I see that as like the biggest argument against these things, which is why I think having them on a preserve makes a lot of sense. Like I do think if you have $3 million and we can clone saber-toothed tigers, you should be able to go hunt a saber-toothed tiger and like fund the preserve. Like I think that sounds awesome. Like I don't think you should have saber-toothed tigers or dire wolves or cave bears roaming wild, because I do see that as being like unforeseen butterfly effect consequences.
You know what I heard in my mind while you said that?
What?
The cables snapping.
From Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park.
Where's the goat?
Exactly, dude. That's what I heard. I heard that cable. That is ingrained in my memory.
Yeah,
that is the sound.
That scene is my favorite scene in cinema history, hands down.
In the dictionary, you had a sound next to like lab experiments gone wrong, and like that's the sound to me of that.
Bro, you know what I'll never forget? The absolute horrific fixation I felt on the TV when I watched Jurassic Park for the first time, when they put the cow in the raptor pen and like they show nothing other than the like leaves moving, and you just hear the cow going, and the raptor's like, and like,
oh yeah,
and then the thing that lowered the cow comes back up and is just torn to shreds. There's not even blood on it, which I was like, they should have put blood on it, but like no blood or gore at all. And like I was just like, I remember being a child seeing that and being horrified, just being absolutely terrified, like. Because I also had like that. I think that was like one of my first encounters with dinosaurs. Like, was that movie? And I was like, "What is in the grass? That did that to a cow? And what is making those sounds?" But yeah, that movie's so quotable though too, because like that scene alone, you see the lawyer like run away, and he runs to the like the bathrooms. And like Sam Neill, the paleontologist is looking, he's like, where's he going? And Dr. Malcolm is just like, when you gotta go, you gotta go.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, like so simple dialogue, quotable lines. I just thought it was so funny. But yeah, bro, come on, Pat. Imagine we become tens of millionaires off this podcast.
I know.
And we could drop a whole $10 million on the hunt of a T-Rex. And you and I live with like knowing we hunted a T-Rex, or we die because it eats us. Yeah, like that's insane.
That's what I was talking about this story. I just say I'm torn. I see both sides, and I'm like, I want to do all that stuff.
But quote unquote, like if they're on a preserve, they're locked away. No worry about spilling over into the wild.
Yeah.
Are you still torn?
The cables are snapping in my head again.
You're not.
That's what they said about the T-Rex.
A few people get eaten on an island, whatever.
Yep.
Are you still torn? That's part of the thought.
Yeah. I'd say this.
That's what you sign up for.
If you're saying in a world where it's like 100%, it's not getting out, say, yeah, let's do it.
No. It's not getting out from like the containment, but it can eat people still.
No, that's what I'm. No, that's fine. The danger is not a problem. Just like
people hunt polar bears and they get eaten every year. No, I don't know if it's every year, but like people get eaten by crocodiles every year hunting crocodiles.
Oh yeah. Yes, and it's not the danger piece for me. It's the part of just going.
Yeah. It's
all right. What's the
ecological?
What's going to happen? Yeah. So from a personal standpoint, I say let's freaking do it. From attempting to take a broader view for like the good of the greater good, I'm like, we should consider this further. But definitely from me,
yeah,
this guy, 1 in 7 billion people roaming the earth, I say, go for it.
Do you remember Lost World, the second Jurassic Park?
Mm-hmm.
And after the raptors attack them in the tall grass, you remember that scene? Like they're all the mercenaries, all the marble men are walking through the tall grass, and there's that one Indian guy. He's like, "Get out of the tall grass!" And then it shows the raptors coming in through the tall grass and just pulling people off from the back. And then as soon as the guys recognize what's going on, they start just pouncing.
Oh yeah,
and taking people down. And then finally, after that scene, there's only like, a dozen or so dudes who live through that. And the main hunter guy, he's loading up his elephant rifle with, and then he's also loading up his trank rifle. And they're like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "To collect my fee. And he's going to hunt the bull rex. And I just always remember that being like so burned into my brain of like, wow, what a man. That guy is legit going to go hunt a T-Rex with a double barrel elephant gun. He's not successful.
Yeah. That's an audacious goal.
Yeah, I think the bull, I don't think he dies if I remember correctly, but he doesn't get the bull rex. But anyways, all that said, Ken, hope you enjoyed the show. We talked about a lot of cool stuff. We essentially just talked about science fiction becoming real life. Like if you're thinking of a title for this, Pat, I guess it's just like, not so science fiction.
Exactly.
Or not so fiction science. I don't know, but it is pretty crazy. Like we're in a time where the things we grew up with as kids are not fake, and they're real. And it just makes me wonder what else is going to happen before, are we going to get teleportation? Are we going to get faster than light travel? Are we going to get laser guns? Are laser guns underneath the Second Amendment? That is a good question.
For real.
All right, Ken. Well, hey, thanks for joining us. Pat, you got any sign off for us?
Oh, till next time. Thanks for tuning in. If you love this episode, drop us a review. If you have qualms or comments, leave us a voicemail on our website. While you're there, check out our latest news, merch, and deals from our sponsors. Till next time, Ken.